that tastes as delicious as Doritos.
What?
Doritos chai tea latte. Tell me it wouldn't be good.
That sounds like the most disgusting thing I've ever heard.
Let's cheer about
Check the chairs out. Put the air on. Oh yeah, okay, this is the chair. Alright. Why do you always put it up here like I'm gonna stand up while I talk? There we go. Am I good?
Check.
Yeah, you're good.
Already checked.
Already checked. You're not recording right now.
Alright. I'm gonna double mic it. Nah, that's too much work.
Yep.
Alright, cool deal. Ready when you are, man. Charlotte is such a beautiful city, man.
This is a really cool location.
Yeah, Bank of America Stadium, right there.
I wonder what their per square foot rent is here.
I don't know.
I wonder if it's stupid mode or if it's like not that bad.
I bet the coolest office space is right there though. Top floor, overlooking right to the field of the stadium. From your top floor office.
The new B of A building.
Yeah.
That's the new B of A building right there. Yep. You probably can't see the Charlotte Knights, but you can definitely see the stadium, the Bank of America. The U.S. women's national soccer team is playing either today or tomorrow.
Where?
Bank of America Stadium.
Oh.
Kind of bonkers mode. Oh, okay. Ready to do it. And we're live. Welcome to the Business Legends podcast, where we interview business leaders and entrepreneurs so that you can learn from their mistakes, pump up your own inspiration, and grow your bottom line. I'm the host of the show, Reece along with the CEO of Business Marketing Solutions Group, Christian Webb. Say what's up!
Hey.
And today, we are the Business Legends. Today we've decided to discuss.
Modest much?
Well, I mean, you know, I like to use powerful nouns and adjectives and verbs and stuff like that. So today we've decided to switch the pace a little bit and discuss a thing that's just very near and dear to our hearts, which is networking. A lot of the guests that we've had on this show just come from our own networking and, you know, friends we've made and business partners that we've worked with and stuff like that. When we were talking about the topic for this podcast, I was thinking about the second guest on our show, Mr. Dan Mills from Accent Comfort Services, and Dan just cracks me up, man. He's like, he goes, whenever you need anything done, if you're like, oh man, you know, I don't know, I hurt my thumb or something. He's like, wait a minute, I got a guy.
Yeah, I know a guy.
I know a guy. I got you.
Actually, funny story about Dan. He actually just we were in BNI, business networking something.
International. You don't know the acronym.
But Dan, he actually got a reward yesterday because he had like 96 one-on-ones with individuals inside of BNI in the last 30 days. I was like, how do you do that? It's like 3 a day.
Where do you have the time to do all that stuff? But I mean, he's out of everybody we've ever met. I mean, he's like a master networker. Like he has a guy for everything. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, it could be like my video game console doesn't work, and he's like, hold up, I got a guy. So it is what it is. You know, one of the reasons we wanted to bring this particular subject up is because, I don't know, we've just been in a bunch of different networking, and some of it's been great and some of it's been very poor. I went to this event just the other evening, and I won't say what the name of it is because I'm about to talk a little bit of trash, I guess, but I mean, it was one of these things where it was designed to be a networking event, you know. It was designed so that you could get business for your business, so that you could, you know, have more people, you know, interact with people that may help.
It branded itself as come meet business owners and people to build your business.
Yeah, and every single person there was like middle management, looking for a job. Not that there's anything wrong with that whatsoever, but, you know, just a bunch of people that weren't really that beneficial, that you couldn't really get business out of as a, you know, fellow business owner or whatever. And I mean, what a waste of time. You know, Christian is in BNI, and we've had great success with the interactions that we've made from BNI. I'm in Blue, Business Leaders Unleashed, and that's been a wonderful networking group for me. I've made a lot of friends and connections. A lot of business has been passed back and forth, and I think one of the things that sets those groups apart is that it's completely intentional, you know? I mean, it's great to get along with people and be friends with people and things like that, but if you're in a networking group, network, man. Like, you know, if you're looking for somebody, if you're looking for an accountant, then why don't you either ask the people that are there, who's your accountant, or maybe you approach the accountant in your networking group. I mean, it's not rocket science, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, I mean, there are dues that are associated with things like that, but it's intentional.
Thank God, though.
Yeah, thank God.
If there wasn't dues, like, if it's cheap or free and it's networking, don't waste your time.
Yeah, what's the point of that stuff?
Yeah,
You know?
Because it's gonna just invite people with low barrier to entry. It's either gonna invite businesses that you wouldn't want to network in the first place, or it's gonna invite only employees that can get in because their bosses wouldn't pay for an actual networking group.
Right.
So you're not gonna have anybody, and you're not gonna have many decision makers. Actually, if you go to places like the places that a lot of people go are like these Alive After Fives, or like the Fahrenheit meetups and things like that. And you get there, and it's like it's all salespeople. It's all people that are just trying to sell you something, and they're usually a salesperson of another organization. And the only business owners there are the ones behind the booths. And there's maybe 4 or 5 booths there.
And by the way,
they're also trying to sell you something.
Yeah, but also, side note, if you have a booth there, you paid to be there too. So it's,
The only business owners
yeah,
paid to be there.
Go figure. I mean, there is a barrier to entry, and one of the things that you know, a couple of my friends always say is that one of the key parts of the word networking is working. I mean, it takes work. It takes work to meet people. It takes work. I mean, you have to put yourself out there, and you should do so unabashedly. I mean, if you're attending a networking meeting, why should you pause and be like, oh, you know, I don't want to bother them or whatever? No, that's why they're there. I mean, and if you can provide somebody something of value, then why wouldn't you admit it? I mean, why wouldn't they want your service or product? Or, God forbid, maybe they don't like it and they go on and have somebody else that can use your product or service. It's really simple, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I think we've done a pretty good job at networking and making friends and just kind of putting our names out there and stuff like that. But I think something that would be beneficial, Christian, and I'll let you kind of take the torch on this one, is what do you think the best steps of networking are? So let's say I'm a young new entrepreneur and I want to open a business selling widgets or what have you. Where would the first place you started be?
So for me, I believe in I mean, you can call it a million different things. People call it tight niche, networking groups. You can call it round table effect, whatever. But whatever I'm selling, whatever I'm passionate about at that time, which right now it's digital marketing, right? As soon as I got into the business, the first thing I did was find other people that sell the things that I don't provide to my customers, but they also provide whatever they're selling to the same type of customers that I would have been looking for. So instead of actually joining a networking group, the first thing I would have done is find a type 5 locally, where I could bring them referrals, they could bring me referrals. But if you're seeing a pattern here, that's the same thing as a networking group. You're just making a smaller version of one, so that you can build off that.
Right.
And that's how I would get my first initial 20, 30, maybe even 40 contracts.
Sure.
And grow off of that into an actual networking group, or 2 or 3 like we have, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Blue and BNI have both been very good to us. BNI is fantastic. It's not really, when you're joining a networking group, you usually sell and take care of customers inside the networking group naturally, but that's not the goal. The goal is meet the people that they know, because I mean, I know probably 100 business owners, I'm sure. So everybody I meet inside of BNI, some of them have 20 years, 30 years experience. I mean, Dan's been in business 6 years, I think?
I don't remember. It's on our second podcast.
Yeah.
Take a look.
Go take a look.
Yeah, I don't remember. He's been in it forever, and he's been married even longer.
Yeah. So imagine how many business owners he knows.
Oh,
it's not about his business.
He knows all of them.
Yeah, it's about everybody he knows that he can tell about you.
Right. Absolutely.
And same in reverse, but you can tell everybody about him.
Yep. Yeah, it's an interesting process. You know, one of the networking groups that I have since abandoned. One of their big things is, you know, when you introduce yourself, don't sell your product. And I couldn't help but think every time I listened to the round table of it, of all the people discussing who they are and what they do and what have you. If I can't sell my product, then why am I there? Like, I got enough friends, Jack. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can move on. Like, if I want to go make friends, I would rather go to the bar. At least then I'm here
to help people and grow my business, man.
Yeah,
that's the 2 goals.
Yeah, keep it intentional, man. You know. And I think there's a huge misgiving of that. And one of the things, Christian, I know this is very near and dear to your heart too, is one of the first things you learn in sales is the ABS, always be selling, you know? And it's like, just, if you're a business owner, you don't clock out, you don't clock in, but you don't clock out, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, you represent your business 100% of the time, every single day. This includes after hours, so, I mean, to put it candidly, if you make an ass out of yourself at some bar or something like that at 2 a.m., that can really come back and haunt you.
Especially if the guy you made an ass with happens to be the owner of your next day's appointment.
Right, exactly. I mean, that seems a little bit close to heart. We'll skip that subject. You know, we've been pretty good about that. We haven't really.
Actually, I'll go ahead and tell that story. It was way before I became an entrepreneur. It was back when I was a national account salesperson in Portland, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
I was having tequilas at this crazy tequila bar in Portland, Oregon.
You said the T word. The
Yeah.
first mistake has been made.
Yeah. And we were having a great time, and some of my buddies, which were also coworkers, got in some arguments with this group of people, and we ended up having to leave. And funny enough, the next day, my appointment was with his boss, and he's the one that introduced me to the guy.
Ouch.
But luckily, I wasn't on the negative side of this argument, so
you were close.
I was real close to being in trouble and not getting that sale whatsoever, not
Yeah.
even being able to meet the guy.
Yeah. Pro networking tip: if you're gonna go out and have fun, don't be an a-hole. That's the best. You know, that's probably the best advice that you could ever get with that type of thing. Okay, so you put together your 4 or 5 people that are doing something. So you're in digital marketing, we're in digital marketing. So, you know, maybe we approach people that do things like print marketing. You know, we're not into that type of thing. You know, maybe we approach people that do things like the ins and outs of stuff we don't do, like website development. You know, there's
merchandising.
Stuff like that. And then maybe, I don't know, point of sale or something like that. Point of sale billboards, other stuff like that. You get together with these people, and again, let's use the widget example. So you get together with them, you introduce yourself to them, you talk about your product or service offering with them, and you get it together. So in a part of networking, you know, in general, would you say that you should try to incentivize the people that you want to network with, or would you say that you build it on the relationship?
So in this portion of it, in the later portion I changed my mind on this topic, but in the beginning round table effect of this, unless it's like a national brand and you're doing like affiliations, I would not incentivize, because it's more about you giving to them first.
Yep.
I wouldn't even talk about yourself.
Yep.
Like literally you're meeting with these other people and you're going, hey, I know people that you can work with.
Right.
Here's bringing them some business.
Yep.
And then they're just going to start bringing you business because you're helping them.
Yeah.
And that's just how life works, because they want to keep you healthy so you can keep bringing them business.
Yeah.
It's selfish at the same time. It's like selfless at the same time.
It's the giver's mentality, and it's not like you're guilty.
It's funny. That's a BNI quote. The
giver's mentality.
The giver's gain mentality.
Dude, I'm not even in BNI. Like, I'm just saying, I can. I got it going on. I'm ready to rock and roll. But the you know, with stuff like that, you give and you give and you give, and people will naturally want to reciprocate. It's not like you're guilting them into, you know, I sent 3 people your way for billboards or something. Now you have to send this.
And by the way, that would be the worst practice.
Yeah, like if you're like, hey, where's my peeps? You know what I'm saying? But you know, having that networking effect, people will want to reciprocate, and especially if they like you. You know, I've been in the dental world for most of my life because my father's an orthodontist, and that's something that, I mean, if you're a specialized dentist, you have to make friends with all the dentists, wine and dine them, talk to them about your product service.
Lunch, dinner, and golf.
Lunch, dinner, and golf. Yeah. It's a tough life, man. It's a tough life, but I mean, that's just a part of life too. You know, is that reciprocal effect. So at first, you don't incentivize these people. Where does that change, and why does it change, you think?
So for me, it changes once you get to the wider base of that. You still don't incentivize really those initial 5, because they're already incentivized.
Yeah.
But you go to, like, when you get these BNI groups, sometimes they're going to give you leads, and they're going to help you the best they can. But for example, I'm not going to name any names. I'm not even going to tell you what industry, because we only hold 1 seat per group, so it's pretty easy to find it.
Yeah.
But
he did say hers, so you know, we could eliminate
so somebody that works with business owners is in my group, and they work with only business owners, and they have hundreds of them. So somebody like that in their normal day-to-day, they might find one lead for me a month, right? But if they were incentivized just slightly more than they are just by saying, hey, thank you,
Yep.
they're going to find 5, 10, 15 referrals to pass my way because they're getting a percentage of that every month, and it's going to grow their business.
Yep.
Now, that's just good business right there. Like, as a business owner, most people get into it is they think they're going to have their own schedule, which they're wrong.
Yeah.
And the second thing is
Yeah.
because they want to grow something that lasts forever,
Right.
and can take them through retirement and just make them money, right? So why not add an entire string of revenue to another entrepreneur's life?
I think one of the best examples of that is Burn Boot Camp. And hear me out. This is going to sound a little
Started
bit
with Burn, I'm already sad.
There we go. So Burn Boot Camp, when they first started, I mean, you and I met Devin when he was literally in a parking lot, you know,
Yeah.
10 years ago, which is amazing to even consider. But when they started off, what they did, their original business model was to have a boot camp for moms. It was a fit community of moms. That was their original tagline. Now it's changed to a fit community of women, I think,
Yeah.
even though they do co-ed classes and stuff. But I mean, Burn Boot Camp's huge now. But what they ended up doing, they made their customer their brand advocate. And so whenever they had, you know, they had this tight-knit group, this, I mean, you can think about it like a networking group.
Yeah.
They had this group of people that loved what they did so much, they were constantly advocating, hey, join me at this camp that I'm attending. Are you a mom? They had their niche figured out, you know,
Yeah.
their specific people, and then they had those people advocate for that brand. And so, you know, you'd scroll on Facebook and say, you can see, oh my God, I love this camp that I've been attending. I've lost 10 pounds or whatever. And they do great work there, you know. By the way, now Burn Boot Camp has what, 1 billion locations or something like that. I mean, there's pretty
Maybe
much
one or two less of that.
yeah, like it has one camp per city in the United States or something like that. I mean, it's
I think there's
ridiculous.
6 just in like the northern part of Charlotte.
Easy. I mean, you know, and they're nationwide now. But what a great model, making your customer your brand advocate. You know,
Yeah, it's a big deal.
it's definitely been something. So networking. So you start with your core 4, the people that core 4, core 5 people that you think that you can pass business to, that giver's mentality. You start with those people. You go through with them. You try to pass people back and forth, reciprocal, without expecting. That's big.
Yeah.
That's a huge
Without
piece of the
expecting.
puzzle. Then you branch out further and further, and so, you know, maybe then you pick people that are not people that are directly or indirectly in your industry, but
Yeah.
you know, maybe you make friends with an accountant or something.
I was actually just about to bring up that.
Were you really?
Yeah. So funny enough, that was my next example. So like, B and I and Blue are great, and we love it, and we definitely, it's worth the time. But before any networking group, think about this. If you were to bring business to say an accountant, like you bring an accountant, maybe 3 or 4 business owners, and they're like, oh, I really love that, I appreciate that. Then all of a sudden, this business accountant opens their doors to you, and now you have access to somebody who's been in business 20 or 30 years. They have 300 businesses they work with.
Yep.
A networking group can't beat that.
Right.
Like, there's no way. So if you give correctly, and now networking groups have accountants in them, so maybe that's where you find that account.
Yep.
But these when they open the doors for 200 to 300 businesses across an entire state, and then they tell everybody that they trust your what you do, like they trust our digital marketing. Like, imagine how powerful that would be. That by itself could throw a large percentage onto your bottom line and
Yeah.
onto your customer base. You'd
Yeah.
be more well known immediately.
And then there's only one more step: deliver. You know, if you deliver a good
Oh
product
man,
or
you
good
suck
service,
after that. Sad.
if you suck, then you're gonna burn, baby. I mean, you're done. But if you deliver on what you say you're gonna do, you treat people right, which should be common ethical business practice anyways.
Yeah.
Then the next thing that happens is your business blows up out of proportion. You can't even control it, and then you're worrying about office spaces and employees and trying to figure out the ins and outs of the other stuff. But talk about a way to build something out of scratch type of thing. Kind of to go a little bit before the networking aspect. So let's say I'm brand new to this, and I think I know where you're going to pick up this ball. But let's say I'm brand new. Let's say I just moved to a new city, so I don't have any friends in this city or anything like that. And let's say again I'm selling widgets or something like that, and I've narrowed.
I think what you're selling matters though. So what are you selling?
Oh, that's a good point. Okay, so let's say that's a good question. Let's say that I'm selling
The service or an item?
yoga pants. So let's say I'm
So we're selling items.
selling yoga pants. So let's say I'm selling yoga pants, and I don't have any friends in this city or anything like that. Let's say I'm doing I'm doing a storefront location and an e-commerce site, so I can ship this stuff nationwide or something like that. So you narrow down to whatever 3 to 5 different people that can help you. I mean, the people that I'm going to are things like gym owners, things like yoga studios, people that own things like Pure Bars and stuff like that, where these types of things are basically the types of products that they need or whatever else. But the point that I was getting at is start with your sphere of influence. Start with the people that you already know, like, and trust. Start with your family members. Start with your friends. Start with the people that you've done business with before.
Yeah.
Or hell, I mean, even if you eat at a restaurant once or twice a week and the people know your name, when they come in and they say, "Hey Reece, how are you doing?" It's like, "Oh, well, it's time to pick a new restaurant."